Hello and welcome to Fast Tracking Fintechs. This is one of the best shows of Banking Frontiers when it comes to the fintech, where we talk to the founders, co-founders, and experts from the financial technologies or the fintech sector and try to understand what goes into makings of the new unicorns that are going to come in the industry. Today with us, we have the co-founder of FREO, which is essentially a company which is uh, taking over money tap and expanding newer horizons into the Indian fintech sector. I'm here to introduce Mr. Kunal Varma, who is the co-founder and the strategist behind FREO in India. Kunal, welcome to Banking Frontiers Live.
Hi, Babu. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
So, Kunal, let me just try to invite our next guest for this show today. He is Gaurav Arora, and Gaurav is the head of financial services practices at Yotta. Hi, Gaurav. Welcome to Fast Tracking FinTech.
Hi, Babu. Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Gaurav.
Hi. So, Gaurav, we were having some interesting chat with Kunal, who is the founder of FREO, which is erstwhile MoneyTap. And we have been having some interesting conversations on how fintech organizations are looking at A, fast tracking their growth, B, how they are built upon a legacy of infrastructure, and what is the way forward that it is looking like for them. Before I get into more business questions with Kunal, let me take some perspectives from you as to how are organizations, especially which are having a legacy of being built upon technology, okay, being facilitated by companies like you in terms of balancing security and compliance on one side, at the same time making experience critical, and at the same time making sure that they have agility at the same time. So how are you planning to, or how are you helping organizations in bringing all these things together?
Sure. In fact, I was also very intently listening to Kunal and was trying to draw parallels, in the business, the way we run it and the way he has envisaged FREO or MoneyTap. It's actually always about the wider view, what more we can do for the customers and be agile at the same time, right? When you talk about a wider view from a technology perspective, is about, do we understand their business? Where are they going? What kind of digital technologies a unicorn or a startup, say in the BFSI fintech space, what technologies are they looking at? Can we bring them those technologies as a service? So when you talk about data center, of course, it's I would say, very rudimentary kind of a co-location service. Yes, Yotta does it extremely well, as good as anybody else, I would say better. But it's about packaging the whole thing as a data center as a service, right? And for that, what Yotta does is takes a very cloud native approach to the design we have catered with compliance and security, which is inbuilt. It's not an afterthought, right? Which we can bring them, as a service. And Kunal also spoke about a little anxiety about outdated technologies. So these new startups are also very cautious about their investment, right? Can I de-risk that? Can I make those investments on their behalf and they pay me as they go? And anything outdated, you're not consuming, you do not pay the service provider. So this is the approach what we are taking, where we build not just a hosting service, but a partner ecosystem of applications which a new fintech like a FREO would need, and offer them as a complete package and which is tailor-made. This is the kind of vision which Yotta is carrying to the market.
So how do you ensure that both the compliance and the experience are not compromised with, and you provide the best of both the worlds? What do you do?
So it's one is the technology piece, the building block what Kunal spoke about. We definitely take care of that. And then what we do is we wrap it around with the array of managed services as part of Yotta's proposition, where all the compliance and regulations are taken care of in that entire proposition. So this is the way we are approaching it. And it's also taking a very verticalized view of the business. The way Yotta is kind of structured, as a front end to our customers is like, for me, managing a BFSI, we have similar verticals on manufacturing, ITES, and services, right? So as part of our mandate is about being very aware in terms of respective BFSI. And of course, BFSI was one of the most regulated kind of sectors in our country, right? So it's taking a very deeper view, understanding what are the ever-changing regulations which are coming about in this vertical, and taking care of those and ensuring that they are not any flip-ups when it comes to anybody signing with the Yotta service. So that's how we ensure that that function is taken care of. Imagine when I spoke about data center as a service, imagine the IT operation piece is being managed by Yotta, not the customer. And there, what customer can do is, as again, Kunal spoke about, focus on innovation and customer experience, and let me take care of the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great approach you spoke about, Gaurav, and that is probably everything as a service is something that everyone would like to take, because you cannot be master of everything. You master your own business and let the back end be taken care of by somebody else who is an expert at that. Kunal, I think you heard a lot about technology from Gaurav, but one thing that comes to my mind is, of course, in the last few years, months especially, we have seen a lot of unicorns being built up in India. Okay. And the latest one was, of course, one of the, exchanges which got into a unicorn status. And I am sure with the kind of innovation that you are trying to bring in, the kind of growth story that you are looking at, a lot more promises are supposed to come in into the FREO framework also. How is your march towards unicorn status looking like, and what is your wish list for FREO in the near time?
That's an interesting question, Babu. Well, let me put it this way. As an entrepreneur, I can say that building a business and entrepreneurship is not really a prediction process, but it's a discovery process. So what lies ahead of us has to be discovered, as long as we have our true North Star, which is creating, I would say, consistent, defensible, and scalable value for our customers. I think that's what we are focused on. You're right in the sense that past 1.5 years has been interesting, right? There have been enough ups and downs at a macro level in the economy, in the industry. The good businesses have survived and they have found ways to thrive. The businesses which were not fundamentally clean and solid have faced major roadblocks, and customers have left them. And that's created the biggest problem. Right? And when customers start leaving you, a lot of other challenges start happening. Bad things happen to companies. At the same time, if you're able to consistently attract more and more customers, good things happen over a period of time. So my focus as a founder is to create that success for customers and to be better next month than this month and so on. So every month has to be better as far as we are concerned about creating value for customers. And if we can actually maintain that path and a very strong trajectory of consistently growing in terms of creating more customer value, increasing in market share, then I think everything else follows. So in terms of marching towards a particular milestone, whether it be a unicorn status or something else, I don't have anything specific in mind in terms of, hey, I need to hit this particular, I would say popular status by this month or by that quarter or by that year. I guess it'll happen in the due course of time. But what is more important for us is to be able to create that customer love for our brand and to continue on this growth path, right? So in the past 6 months, the total transacting customer base in our business has simply doubled. Wow. And we believe that if we are able to continue on this path in the next 6 months, we should be able to again double it. And that kind of growth is what will then put us on the right path. So I would say it's a game of, I would say, creating value, and valuation follows. It's not the other way around. So you create value and valuation follows. And at the same time, it's not about predicting, it's about discovering. So as long as as long as I can keep these two things in mind and keep my head down and be honest about creating value for customers, I think we'll all know when the company reaches a particular status, be it unicorn or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you are repeating the age-old teaching of Bhagavad Gita, which says "Karm kiye jao, phal ki chinta mat karo." It will come to.
I think that's how it is, because you cannot be too outcome driven. You have to be effort and process driven, and you cannot control the outcome. It's like life, right? You take decisions based on what you understand, what you know, and what you think you want for yourself in the future. And even then, a lot of things don't work out well, right? It's like an expert surgeon performing a surgery on a patient. That surgeon might have performed a surgery for, let's say, hundreds and hundreds of patients, but maybe after the 500th surgery, the 501st surgery might not go as planned. It is not because the process was not followed. It is not because there was a lack of effort, but there are too many other factors and variables in play which you do not control. So it's all about controlling what you can control, which is your effort, your process, the right decision making and judgment, and not being too obsessed about the outcome. Be obsessed about creating value in the process, and the outcome will follow.
Yeah. In fact, I would like to come and just give my perspective on the same question, right? Yotta was born in pandemic company, right? We launched our services right in middle of pandemic, July 2020. And here we are, little over a year old, and we have onboarded close to 300 customers already, right? So it's exhilarating journey for the team. But I think one thing what we were focused on is just solving customer problems in a unique manner. Can we do it? And as Kunal mentioned, right, the obsessiveness of with the customer, their requirements, and somewhere, that takes care of the competition. You don't need to focus on the competition, but on the customer and the requirements. Good things are bound to happen. And that's exactly what has been happening for Yotta, especially in the BFSI space. Because when you talk about banks and BFSI customers, right, they are most touchy about customer references, for example, right? Unlike a manufacturing or an ITES company. So just to build that BFSI base, right, it was a tall task, which I would say we are on the right track to onboarding certain prestigious logos across, I would say, sub verticals within BFSI, and the way forward. So as they say, it's the biggest competition is the customer indifference. If we can address that, I think most of the things are taken care of. Yeah.
Wonderful. In fact, you are born in a time which is like something what demonetization did to the payment wallets.
Yeah.
Okay, so pandemic has done to you the same effect of what demonetization did, and fortunately also the appetite for data centers or cloud or managed services has grown drastically all over the country during those times. And here we are, everyone is now talking digital, everyone is talking to move places and go forward with that digital wave. So fantastic. Any wish list from you, Kunal?
Well, I would love for the regulatory regime to be slightly more stable.
Yep.
And would be fantastic for the ecosystem to not have to worry and talk about regulatory risk. As businesses, we deal with different kinds of risk. Right? There is operational risk, there is capital risk, there is credit risk. And on top of all of that, if I have to worry about regulatory risk, then it just, I would say, adds to the mix. Now, Indian entrepreneurs typically are very very battle hardened. We can take lots of cuts and bruises and still, keep smiling and move and go forward, because that's how we've been conditioned in terms of dealing with challenges. But I would be very happy if I had one less challenge to deal with,
Sure.
which is on the regulatory volatility and risk. That's one. And I think secondly, it would be great if I would see, in general, a little bit more acceptance from, I would say, traditional organization institutions towards adopting technology, because the pace at which younger organizations like ours, newer organizations, can adopt technology and produce solutions for customers is, I would say, exponentially higher as compared to some of the larger, older incumbent organizations. So it would be great if they could actually do this, because that then creates large scale trust in the ecosystem. If a certain level of innovation is only being pushed by, let's say, smaller companies, which are a smaller share of the economy, then that does not become the mainstay. So embracing innovation, embracing newer technologies is as important by incumbents as it is by younger companies, not because the customer also needs it, but because it builds more trust in that innovation, in that technology, as the customer starts seeing it from different angles. So I would say only for these two things. I think everything else we can handle as entrepreneurs.
Fantastic. In fact, trust is one of the major factor, and ultimately, if you can provide even a customer with the trust, why should he wait for a larger organization to service him, when he can have a smaller organization, agile organization, versatile organization work?
Move faster, provide better services, cheaper services, of course.
Yeah, coming back to agility, actually.
Yeah, and that messaging of trust is something that is important from your side as well as from the service provider's side. Gaurav, how do you look at providing or empowering the customers of the future with trust? Okay, how are you building that trust, especially with?
I think it's all about going back to the basics, right? As I just spoke of earlier, it's about obsessing with their requirements, right? And do not oversell and underdeliver. I think that's a perennial problem when you look at it from the sales standpoint, right? We as a company, and me as an individual as well, throughout my sales career, that's one thing I've always stuck with: never overpromise and underdeliver. And then coming to technology, yes, we spoke about agility, right? The world has changed, right? It's not human going to applications, it's applications coming to humans now. So this forever state of connectedness, be it appliances, be it your cars, or even certain fintech applications, right? What it's creating, the data is ballooning, and it's ever increasing. So you need to go back, take a cloud native approach so that you can manage the data in a very agile manner and be I would say a digital enabler for fintech companies and beyond, right? And once we get the hang of customers' business, and again, back to not under-delivering, I think that's a recipe for earning trust and long-lasting relationships.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Gaurav. Thank you very much, Kunal, for this interesting conversation. One thing is clear. Both of you are into the business of bringing mountain to Muhammad and not taking Muhammad to the mountain. Okay. So the best of the possibilities, the best of the services, the best of the opportunities should come to the customer rather than customer going to those services. And ultimately, that is the key deciding factor whether the customer will work with you or not. Absolutely. And especially in a customer oriented market where the customer has a plethora of choices, I think that is one of the key deciding factors. And you both have been doing it wonderfully. And that is easily shown in the growth charts of your businesses respectively. Congratulations to both of you for achieving it. And we look forward to more such fast-tracking fintech conversations with both of you and inspiring other fintechs to do well and lead the growth charts. Thank you very much.
Thank you for hosting this, Babu.
Thank you for having us, Babu. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.